I want to move to university lifestyle as a whole, whether it's going out to partying, drink, drugs, it's everywhere. Everything's affected within university as well. As a group of students here, how do you deal with that peer pressure, and how can you work around that?
I mean, like you, because I'm a first year student, and kind of the lifestyle in the first year is, you go partying every day.
Especially in sort of Freshers' Week. When
Yeah, they've had Freshers' Week. So what I realized was that, also first week you're trying to make friends as well, and trying to socialize. So what I realized was join societies, certain societies which you can be a part of, to be friends. Like I'm a student ambassador for my university, and through that I was able to meet people who are doing the same thing, and I was able to, also be a positive light for the university as well.
So you're saying there's actually other avenues you can go down to make friends and integrate?
Other societies as well that you can do that through.
Okay, let's get some other points as well. How do you deal with the sort of peer pressure you get at uni to fit in?
Well, I'm going to give a slightly different answer because when I was at university and I was studying, I was an MD. I converted when I finished my studies, and now I'm doing my PhD, alhamdulillah. So I did experience the parties, and I experienced the alcohol and everything. One thing I can say is to any people that are tempted by these things is that I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it. It was meaningless. There's nothing more wholesome than my faith and the Quran and the principles in it, and being as good a person as I can be. And just looking back, I just think what wasted time. So that's all I have to say about that.
So what advice can you give? Because obviously, I mean, you're in a prime example of you've been through both. What advice could you actually give to other people they're looking at that lifestyle and they're looking at these people going out and they're thinking, that looks kind of tempting to me. What advice can you give to them?
It's probably because of the friends that they're around. If you're around people that will want to be out at 2, 3 in the morning partying, then you want to be with them. So, I mean, I had friends like this as well. And when I converted, they were kind of surprised that I didn't want to do that with them anymore. So what you have to realize is you have to get a good group of friends that want to do wholesome, good activities. And you must keep away from people that are deviating you from the right path. So it's about getting a good set of friends, I'd say.
Okay. Moving back to the panel, topic we've been talking about obviously is free mixing within university as well. I was talking to one of my friends about this earlier on before the program, and he came up with a good example. He was saying that there has to be some sort of interaction. You can't lock yourself off completely, and he gave me the example of having a vaccination. If you protect your body from a virus, you give the body a sense of very little sense of that virus, and then it builds a natural defense. So he was saying to me that there should be some sort of interaction, because you can't go throughout your whole life and never speak to a girl, because then you won't know how to when you need to later on in life. So what's your views on that?
Well, I mean, you're not going to university, to go and learn how to talk to girls. Obviously, that's not the learning ground for that kind of thing, and there is no learning ground. That's after you get married, really. I mean, it's all on your intentions, isn't it? Like the brothers have said here, and rightly so. When you go to university, you go for a certain purpose. Obviously, you have some friendships which are made there, which are inevitable. You just have to know how to deal with those people. You have to know also what signals you're giving. Like I said before, you mustn't be giving out the wrong signals to attract the wrong attention. And if people are giving you the wrong signals, you have to know how to deflect them as well, politely. But you have to know how to deflect them. So, I mean, what more can I say?
This is exactly what the university can do for an individual at that learning stage, or that stage of forming a lifelong habit. You see, the reality is, when we are young, we form habits which carry through life. And Hazrat Muslim Maud, he spoke about this again and again in his book, The Way of the Seekers, that right from birth we are learning habits. And if we don't form good habits at birth in the early years, the rest of our life we're struggling to get these habits out. No matter how much we know, we get close to God, those things keep haunting us and pulling us back down into those dark holes of our inner conscience. Right. So here in the university, what a wonderful opportunity to learn not to inoculate ourselves by jumping into it, but by buffering ourselves from something we want to face the rest of our lives. We want to face it in our workplace, in our neighborhoods, in society. You walk into the mall place, the marketplace, you're going to be surrounded by the same things again. Why not learn when you're young in this environment the strength, as the Prophet said, the young man is blessed who learns to avoid the temptation of a woman as well. He is a blessed man. He's almost guaranteed to go into the heavens. So here's your chance in university to get that blessing. as opposed to, hey, let's taste this for a while, taste the forbidden fruit, and find it bitter, spit it out and say, well, no more of that, you know. You talk about societies, associations, clubs, and universities. You talk about having study groups, you know, but you have students who have feelings for non-Muslims and others who are out there, and this is going on, and they get confused now what to do. This is one excellent advice, you know, go to some man of God, you know, Clifton Masih, missionary, whoever, and bare your soul that, look, I'm going through this struggle of life, help me out, pray for me, you know, guide me. And that may be one way to help it. The other thing is, see the enemy as your enemy. You know, you have to learn to see that as something that is a poison as opposed to a pleasure, and drive it into your mind. Either I'm going to take the next appropriate step, which could be approaching some, you know, family and saying, I have an intention to actually marry this person. If there's no marriage involved, I just want to have love, forget that, that's out. The only next step could be, in this case, is either I'm going to attempt to have a marriage arranged here, or I'm going to end it. And to end it, you have to put in your mind, this is haram. Muhammad Ali, the great boxer, he used to do something very interesting. They said he carried around matchsticks in his pocket. And you know, he was a very popular man when he's a champion. Wherever he would go, women would just dive on the man. I mean, he's an athlete, he's strong, he's good looking, you know. And he said he'd look across the room and see this beautiful woman, and he'd pull out the matchstick and strike it. And he put his hand on over the matchstick, and he said, Muhammad Ali, if you can't take this burning right now, you better turn your eyes away. You know? And so,
looking forward to the burning of the
you see?
as well.
So it's either you're going to take the next positive step, or you tell yourself, this is leading me to something which is it cannot happen. So fight with that jihad.
Jahangir Sahib, obviously missionaries, you are missionaries yourself, you know you're very busy, so do you think it's actually good, do you have actually time for people to actually come to you?
Of course, we always make time for people who have problems like this, but I think the brother had given the best piece of advice, like Azhar Sahib also said, to go and see Huzur. I mean, short of seeing Huzur, then they could go and see a missionary, or maybe a missionary first and then go and see Huzur. But it's good to go and see the Khalifa, or if you're not in the country where he is, to write to him, and to write to him privately, and to tell him this is the problem, and then I'll get his advice. And if you, for example, want to take the next step ahead, like Azhar Sahib was saying, you can also say that to Huzur, that I actually like somebody, and I'd like to marry that person, what should I do? I know Huzur has helped people in that situation many times. So it's good to go to bear your soul with these things. If they're very heavy on you, and you think maybe you're going to do something wrong, go and see Huzur, and if you can't see him, see a missionary, that's an elder of the community you trust, and ask for advice.
So we're going to be wrapping up. Azhar, if any final words you'd like to give to our audience and viewers about this topic of free mixing, especially university life, how would you like to end the discussion today?
Free mixing, I would say the key, as I started out with, is to strengthen your barrier. You know, whatever that barrier you have is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, and stay firm on that, because if that weakens, the border we talk about, you know, that fine line crossing over into which you enter all of the pitfalls, they're non-ending, and so that has to be strong. There's no other way around it. You know, in the end, we will be independent. We're growing into adulthood. We have to make our own choices, and this is where it begins. The strength is going to be within. It's not from without us. You know, and I think this is the classic mistake that young people make. They see the problem outside of themselves instead of inside themselves. So strengthen the inner spirit and moral character, and we'll be fine.
All right, Jahangir Sahib, finally, how would you like to wrap up?
I'd say to choose your friends very carefully, bearing in mind what Azhar Sahib just said, and choose those friends who would be of real benefit to you, to your lives, a positive benefit.
Okay, all right. And Dr. Sahib, any final words?
Just to add on from what Azhar Sahib has said, that within yourself, rather than using what you see externally as an excuse, too many times you have this sort of sorrowful look that it's all the female's fault, and if there were not all these girls around me, I would not be in this problem. Why don't we look at ourselves and what progress you're going to make for yourself? It's not every single female is going to be a source of a sexual object. The rules are there purely to protect for those instances where the sparks will ignite. Doesn't mean the sparks will ignite everywhere, but the rule is there purely to protect you from where that eventuality will happen.
Okay, all right, Jazakallah. Thank you to the audience as well, and thank you to the panel. I guess we've had a really good discussion here today, and one of the key points that I've picked up specifically is that, you know, we have to sometimes give up these so-called pleasures for the greater good, and actually look at this life to prepare for the next. If you keep the bigger picture, then inshallah we'll all be kept on the right path. We'd love to hear your views as well at home as well, so don't forget you can always email us in realtalk@mta.tv. Also, our website address is mta.tv/realtalk, and we have a Twitter page as well where you can keep up to date with any new programs. The address for that is at the bottom of your screen as well. Thank you for watching. Hope you can join us again next time for more Real Talk, but until then, assalamu alaikum.
What you see in society is the materialistic lifestyle has made people become very selfish and self-centered.
A lot of the time it's not in your face, it's actually subliminal. So you don't even realize it's happening to you, but it is.
I think it's obvious to most that the moral condition of mankind has fallen to a very low state.
And although I don't like to admit it, it's not nice, but your average Muslim is going to get picked upon.
Join me for real stories, real issues and real views. This is Real Talk.